So my work is about the pipeline parallelism. We observed a specific problem of pipeline parallelism, and we solved the issue through the optimization. So the motivation of why we should use pipeline parallelism is because these days models are very large that it cannot fit on a single device. So pipeline parallelism enables training this large-scale model by splitting the model into sequential stages. And it places its stages on a separate device and communicates only activation and activation gradients across between these stages. And this is the diagram of how pipeline parallelism processes data. And you can see that at a certain point of time, the all devices like computing forward or backward paths simultaneously, and this is kind of the reason why we call it parallelism. But it has to wait until every device is complete the backward path before they update the model weights, and it creates the idle time of the device between forward and backward stage. And it results in a severe optimal hardware utilization. An alternative way to fully utilize every device is asynchronous pipeline parallelism. And you can see that in here, we update the model weights immediately after completing the backward path for each stage. But the issue of asynchronous pipeline parallelism is that it's gradient delay. So when you look into the stage 1, you can notice that when we process the microbatch 4, it's processed on the weight 0, the initial weights. However, when it gets applied to the model updates, there's been 3 more updates. So the updates is applied on weight 3. And this gradient delay can actually scale linearly with the number of stages. And we observed that this can be severe, especially when we train transformer. So we start the training from stage 1 and change the stage to number 32, and we observed that it actually slowed down the convergence more than 5 times. And to solve the issue of gradient delay, we first analyzed why this gradient delay could harm the performance this much, and then we suggest a way to solve it. So to analyze the issue, we first look into how Adam could work well on the original transformer without delay. And one of the prior explanation of why Adam worked well in the transformer is that it can actively adjust the learning rates for each coordinate. So when you look into the quadratic problem that has different curvature for its coordinates, when you use SGD, it uses larger learning rates for the coordinates have large coordinates, large curvature. So it starts to show the oscillation along the dominant eigenbase direction. However, when you use RDAM, since it can adjust the learning rates for each coordinates, it shows smooth trajectory towards the optimal points. However, when the eigenbasis of Hessian mismatch with the standard coordinate basis, the coordinate-wise relativity of RDAM breaks down, and it starts to show the oscillations such as SDD. And this is the point where our key insight comes in. So when the basis is aligned, we observe that RDAM shows smooth trajectory towards the optimal points, and that means that previous update direction is similar to the current update direction. So using the previous information would not harm the training that much. However, when the basis is misaligned, it shows the oscillation along the dominant direction, and previous update direction can diverge from the true update direction, which harmed the training much. And our solution was very direct, that applying the atom in the rotated space where Hessian eigenbase is more aligned to the coordinate basis. So since we cannot calculate the actual Hessian on the transformer, we use several techniques that can approximate the Hessian eigenbasis, such as like using empirical Fisher and using chronicle factorization. So this L and R is the approximation of the Hessian information, and out of this we calculate the eigenbasis U and V, and we accumulate the first and second moments on that rotated state and get an atom updates on that rotated space and get a full optimization rules for the original state by rotating back to the original states. So if you are familiar with optimizer solve, you will recognize this kind of similar to using solve on the pipeline parallelism. And actually, it turns out it works very well on this delay problem. So when we change the number of states from 1 to 32, we observed that this basis rotation technique actually won't harm the training performance that much. And when we compare the training loss of it, we observed that it actually requires like almost 80% fewer iteration compared to the baseline. And yeah, this is the conclusion of the work. We only present some main experiments here, but if you're interested in more diverse experiments, we will present our work on the poster session. Thank you.